My film is about to begin. Hello, America. Stories endure. They make us more human. Stories embolden individuals, inspire legendary achievements, and build empires. Told story which carries the great significance. I authored the story you're about to experience with purpose, the charm of laughter, the tenderness of transparency, and determination to break new ground.
All right. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all as you watch this broadcast. It's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ along with Yana. All right.
Hello.
Yes, indeed. We've got a treat for you all tonight. We have so much, well, we have a lot to cover, but we want to cover the Melania movie. We just got back. Yana and I went to see it, and we want to get into that. Before we light this fire, folks, do your part. Tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. Well, we're going to get into the movie, but before we do, again, as you watch this, please hit that like button. That helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and we appreciate the support. Folks, this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, Yana, let's set it off. As I mentioned, well, first off, that was, of course, Melania Trump at the start of the show. She was giving a formal announcement for the premiere of her movie, Melania. Out in theaters this weekend, came out Friday. We all are watched it today, Sunday. If you're kind of watching this after today, we watched it the opening weekend. And so before we get into all the details, Yana, I want to get your first thoughts. What did you think about the movie?
I loved it. It was so beautiful from the very beginning to the end. It was just full of beauty. I almost got emotional just watching how graceful she is and just the perfection of everything that was shown, the fashion, the way that she took her role so perfectly. She'd taken on this role of First Lady. And actually, I saw her evolution from the first term to the second term. I can see her evolution. So it was just so beautiful. And one thing that really stood out, she's a queen.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, I thought the same exact thing. I went away from it, and with one word, if I had one word to describe it, it would be elegance. Elegance. And I liked it, not just her too, but Trump. But of course, the movie was primarily about Melania, and Trump popped in from here and there. But it made me think about old school elegance.
Hmm.
Back in the 50s and the 60s, when people
Yeah.
actually took their time, whether it was just baking a cake for someone or planning an event. I mean, she went through, as you mentioned, so many details on
Mhm.
everything. And she comes across as very graceful. Everything she did. And again, this video, this movie, it marked from the time of the inauguration week. So I think like maybe 3 or 4 days prior to
Yes.
inauguration.
Or even I think it was like a couple weeks when they
Okay.
started. So it's like everything leading up to
Yeah.
the inauguration and then the actual inauguration day.
Yes, and it was all
Yeah.
behind the scenes, and every detail is done with intention and
Mhm.
excellence and just so much elegance. I thought it was beautiful,
It
beautiful.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so much precision that was
Mhm.
shown that she's so precise. She's really into fashion and she knows fashion. She understands fashion. So she's actually telling her designers, her tailors, the people who are designing, helping her create her image. She's actually telling them what she wants. So
Mhm.
she's like, she is a designer herself, and we know that actually before she became first lady the first time, she was already designing jewelry, as far as I remember. So she definitely has a knack for beauty, for creating beautiful things. She sees it, and but she also was so personable.
Mhm.
I thought that it was great that she made this movie because, or this film, because I felt that the first Trump's term, she was a little bit aloof.
Mhm.
I don't think she really 100% accepted that role the first term. I think maybe she was worried about her child, about Barron, and she had all these worries about how it's going to go, and there was so much hostility. I mean, it's still there, but it's just she embraced this role completely, I think, and she really went on full force that this is her role. This is who she is. She's the first lady, and she's doing it perfectly right now.
Yeah.
And that movie also made her very close to the people. You can see her interaction with her staff, with President Trump, with everyone around. That she is this personable people. Yes, she has standards. She's very proper. So
Mhm. Yeah.
one thing about her is that she showed that she's so proper. She's not sloppy in any way. Everything has to be properly done. So I mean, I have so many more thoughts to share, but if you have something else to share, go ahead,
Well,
KJ.
no, I want to just touch on what you just mentioned about the proper and the grace and the elegance. It really made me, it brought me back to thinking how, like, now femininity and, women in particular being
Hmm.
feminine, taking details and taking pride into doing things for the home, preparing for events, for dinners and things like that. That's sort of looked upon as we're not supposed to do that anymore.
Right. We
And
have lost it. I
and
think in the society we have lost it, unfortunately.
I agree, and that's what I thought
Hmm.
she was bringing that back,
Hmm.
because we've seen and and we talk about this a little bit, but she's working on different initiatives like many of the former first ladies have worked on.
Hmm.
However, this feels like to me she is not shying away from the idea that the first lady is supposed to take care of the house,
The home. Yeah.
home.
Hmm.
Exactly. I love that she not shying away from it. She is actually embracing it. And that to include the beauty, the fashion, what she's wearing, those types of things. I loved that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about some of the things that I don't think at least I didn't know personally, that were brought out in this movie. And one for me was their preparation for former President Carter's funeral,
Hmm.
and how she talked about in this movie that it was a very tough day for her because it was 1 year the death of her mother.
Right.
So that was weighing on her very, very much so.
Yeah, and that was very emotional for me too, because you can really feel, I mean, she holds her emotions
Mhm.
she's very private
Right.
with how she's showing her emotions. And I think it's also a very Eastern European thing. We don't really express grief in public because it's such a private feeling. So, but you can see that it was really tough for her. And in fact, when there's grief, you can see a person withdraw. And
Yeah.
that's how I can feel that, because that's my culture, and I can see when the person withdraws, they must be going through something really difficult. And her mother was with her her entire life. She was there the first term. President Trump's term, and I think she was her support during those years and during those difficult times, and helping raise Barron. So coming back, I think, to the White House when her mother is no longer there, that must be tough as well.
Absolutely. And she talked about that, how, you know, after the long inauguration day, she was looking forward to getting back to the White House because that actually
Mm,
represented normalcy for her. That
mhm,
was where Barron really spent some of his formative years growing up. Now he's coming back as a young man, a young adult. And so it meant a lot to him to get back to the staff. You know, the film
mhm.
showed them walking in after the long days events of the inauguration, and the staff welcoming them, and they going back to the old routines of being in the White House. I thought that was really cool to
Yeah,
see.
I thought so too. And the entire the film, how the film walked us through that in the inauguration day, I
Mhm.
thought that was really interesting because it really walked us through everything and their anxieties about it as well.
Right.
So there was a conversation about whether they will be walking in the street because they were thinking there was going to be a parade like the last time, like it's done traditionally, and you can see that she was very uneasy about stepping out of the car. And
Right.
we know because President Trump, when he was, his life was in danger, there was an assassination attempt not too long before this, the inauguration. And so I can imagine how scared she was, and she didn't want to show it. And I think she would have done it. She would have walked out of the car, and Trump would have walked out of the car. But she said she was so relieved that the parade and the festivities for the public were going to be in the arena, inside
Yeah.
building. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Like you
then
said, she was she was nervous about her Baron, you know?
yes. Oh,
Yeah.
Barron said that he was not going to walk out of
Right.
the car to begin with. So you can see how she's navigating so gracefully through this hostility that's all around them. That was also on my mind the entire time that I was watching it. That, she's showing all this beauty and grace, and then how angry and vile everyone is around, and how much hatred they have, and the what they wish on this couple, and what they wish on her and her family. The left, they you I don't even want to say. We know what they're thinking. So she knows all that. So can you imagine navigating through that and doing it with grace, and then doing it in those high heels
Right.
the entire time? Like that day, the inauguration day, just starts off early in the morning in those heels, and then it just goes on and on from one event to another event, and until 2 in the morning when they're finally at the White House and she's able to take off those shoes.
I know.
I thought
And
that was
again,
amazing.
to me, that takes me back to the old world elegance. I mean, I grew up that way where women, you didn't wear flats, you wore
Mhm.
heels, and you wore them until your foot fell off. I mean, nowadays people, you see people at weddings and things like that, and you see people bringing extra pair of shoes or
Mhm.
taking their shoes off. But I mean, I grew up like that where women wore heels and we wore them all day long. You didn't have a second pair most of the time. It was like beauty
Mhm.
is pain and you got to wear these
Yeah,
heels. I mean, it's
exactly.
awful, but it is the truth.
Exactly. And actually, there's a Eastern European or a Russian saying about it too, that beauty requires sacrifice.
Right.
So, we were raised on that too. And but it was everything. If people are thinking about watching it, it wasn't actually just about the fashion. It was also her work
Right.
and her international work as well. There was a lot of things I saw there that I was not completely aware of before. How she helped with the hostage situation. Where she helped. She met with people, Israeli people, who were harmed
Right. It was,
by
yeah,
terrorism.
yeah. It was a hostage
And
that was within. I forget the lady's name, but her husband at the time.
Aviva, her first name Aviva, but yeah, she was a hostage,
Mhm.
and her husband at the time of making the film was still
Fifty
in
days.
captivity.
Yeah, yeah. She
And
was
so
free in
she
50 days.
Right. And then it showed the film showed her other accomplishments on the international level, where she facilitated return of children that needed to be returned back to Ukraine because of
Mhm.
the conflict there. So she was communicating with President Putin in a peaceful way, and so she was really a peace builder. And then nationally, I don't know if people are aware that she secured housing for foster
Right.
children, for people who are coming out of foster care and they need a place to live. And so she secured that
Yeah, that
funding
was
for
the
that.
first of its
Mhm.
kind that she lobbied President Trump to create an executive order in
Mhm.
regards to that too, and it said it was the first of its kind. Also, the two initiatives that she's working on are Be Best, I
Mhm.
believe, and Fostering the Future, which is what you mentioned,
Right.
that foster care initiative. And I know a lot of people have been talking about her bullying, to stop bullying and
Right.
online bullying and AI, um, different types of bullying with AI and
The
things.
online bullying. So she started with that even in the first Trump's term, and so she's continuing. I think it's so important, and there are initiatives to uh, put safeguards
Mhm.
on how children are using the internet, because in being in education, I see how dangerous it is, how it sucks children in. And I think it reminds me, actually, there's a boy currently who's missing because I forget where, what city, but there's currently a little boy who is missing because he went to meet somebody who he met on a game
Mm.
platform. So it's so terrifying. So I think she understands that, and she wants to safeguard that for the children. So that was really inspiring to
It
see.
was. Another part on there that I think was very interesting, particularly in this time, in age where we have a lot of the illegal immigration, we have a lot of the deportations. She talked about, as she entered the inaugural hall of the Capitol on inauguration day, she talked about her journey as an
Hmm.
immigrant here in America, and how important it is to us as Americans to hold on to our rights.
Hmm.
And she talked about, she did it the right way. She came here, she did it the
Right.
right way, and she talked about how important it is to for America to stay America.
Yes. So that actually also, I had a lot of thoughts about that, because historically, she's technically the first immigrant first lady.
Wow.
I had to look into it. I had to make sure there was one first lady. It was John Quincy Adams's wife, but she was born in England of an American father. So
Hmm.
it wasn't exactly the same.
Hmm.
So she came to America later. So but Melania is really, in my perspective, is the first immigrant first lady.
Yeah.
And
And that's not talked
sh
about
yeah,
nearly enough.
right, exactly. She's, compared to all immigrants, she's on the top ladder of immigrant success. I
Right.
mean, you cannot go higher than that, because you can't be president if you're not born here. So,
Right.
she is at the top, and that's like real success.
Let's talk about that, because if if she were a black, a woman of
Mm-hmm.
color, if
Right.
Melania was a woman of color, if she had come from a
Oh,
country that was of minority color or something
Right.
like that, it would be the number one thing people would talk about. The number
Absolutely.
one thing. But
Hmm.
I mean, no one really talks about that. You don't hear them talking about that in the media. It's a huge accomplishment. It says a lot about us as Americans and how
Hmm.
we connect with immigrants. And nobody
Yeah.
talks about that.
It's interesting, yeah, because they're not even talking about the first vice lady. So
Right?
the second lady, how you
Yeah,
call
the
her?
second
Sorry.
lady. Yeah.
Yeah, the second lady, because currently, right now, we have two ladies,
Right.
the first and the second, who are immigrants.
Yeah.
And the media has not highlighted that. That's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah.
And
Wonder
it
why.
shows the double standard
Yeah.
between if it was a Democrat
Right.
administration, they would have said, "Oh, you see, this is the it shows how accepting
Melting pot.
Democrats are."
Yeah.
And but if it's if we have a Republican administration and we have first ladies that weren't born here, and the second lady is considered a woman of color, actually.
Right. You're
So
right. Yeah. So yeah, that's
yeah,
it's all because they're Republicans. That's what it is.
hmm,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
absolutely right.
And so yeah, it's really it was really inspiring to see that part, the immigrant success that she embodies.
Absolutely, absolutely. And getting back to some of, like we said, so many things that she paid attention to, and the elegance and just the grace. One thing I thought was really cool was this was the first time they did a candle light dinner or
Hmm.
candlelit dinner. They put that in as part of the inauguration festivities. So that was, I think it was the night before the inauguration. Um,
Right.
okay,
Yes.
yeah,
Hmm.
that
And
was oh my gosh,
it
that
was amazing. So
oh
it took place at the Building Museum in
right,
DC that looks like a palace on the
mhm,
inside. And that's when so the whole time thinking she is our queen right now. She behaves like a queen, and
right,
she set up this very royal dinner. It looked like a royal dinner, and it looked like it was taking place in the palace, and everything was precise. She did look over every detail, the flowers and the plates, the crystal. I remember she was talking about the crystal that was from her country. Um, I'm not sure it was for that dinner, but that was just another example of that love for beauty that she has.
yeah, yeah. And the movie listed so many of the changes that Melania has overseen in the White
Mhm.
House. And I don't really have that. I think they did a renovation of the Rose Garden. I think it was one. She also
The
refinished a red
bowling
room.
alley.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Y-
Yeah.
Yeah. She's overseen and led so many redesigns of the White House. And when they started going through the list of that during the film, I thought to myself, wow, I mean, how generous is that? I mean, how because
Mhm.
they're only going to be there for 4 years, but this is
Right.
something that they're going to have a lasting imprint on the White House for generations. I mean, and it's a well done imprint.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And we know that the ballroom will be there in
Right.
the White House. So, and that is something very royal as well. That, and I know the Democrats keep saying that we have a king. Like, no, I mean that's not how it is. She just behaves like a queen,
Right.
and so we have to. It also, you know what it is also, it makes me think of this whole idea of communism, trying to take over. You know how communists are against all these beautiful things and royal stately things. They want to destroy that. They want to destroy this type of culture of beauty and grace.
Mhm.
It's all about functionality for them. So they're bringing it back. They're bringing back this idea that we have this. Um, that there's something that can be elevated. There's more. It's not everyday life. Not something. We need this in our lives. We need something that's beautiful and perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, as we wrap this up, I just wanted each of us to give, something that was the most memorable, one of the most. There was so much of it was really
Mhm.
memorable. I'll start off. For me, one of the kind of cool parts I thought of it was, and there were so many parts that where she gave personal information about things. But one thing I thought was cool, they asked her who her favorite musical artist was, and she said Michael Jackson. And then she started
Yeah,
singing Billie
Billie
Jean
Jean.
song. Really,
Yes.
really cool.
Right. Yeah, I thought so too because that really made her human.
Yeah,
The movie really made her human, and I'm so glad that she did that.
yeah.
Um, for me, I thought it was cute at the beginning. It was in the very beginning where she was so precise about her outfit,
Right.
and you could see like a little panic in like the designers and the tailors that are around, and she's like, yeah, this needs to be cut, this needs to be higher, this needs to be tighter, and like how she just directs the fashion and how perfect she looked on the inauguration day. And actually I kept looking at Joe Biden right next to her like, yeah, not the
No,
same.
but not even close.
Not even
Joe Biden
close.
looked like she was her handmaiden. Her
Yes,
and
like that coat that Melania was wearing, and how she's like, it needs to be a little tighter here in the hips. And then you can see Jill Biden. It looks like she just picked it up off a, department store.
right.
Like there
Oh,
was nothing done to that outfit. And
I mean,
so,
they
I mean,
literally put in the tone and the actuality of out with the old and in with
mhm.
the new. I mean, they look like
Yes,
two people who you couldn't even believe they were leaving the White House because they
I
looked like they shouldn't
know.
have been there, which they shouldn't have.
They should have not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree. That was a great moment. That was a great
Mhm.
moment to see those two standing next to them as the Bidens got on the helicopter. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe we actually survived 4 years of the
It was
Bidens. Oh,
tough years. Yeah,
tough years.
tough
Yeah,
years.
absolutely. All right.
Mhm.
Well, folks, we really encourage you to go watch it. Definitely go see it. Not just because, of course, we are, on the right conservatives, but it was a really good movie. It was a good film.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And share in the comments what was your most memorable moment. If you've watched the film, please share what did you think?
Absolutely. And I came across this clip. This is an old clip of Melania and young Baron, but I thought this was really cute. So we wanted to share this with you all.
Oh.
This is my first time watching this.
He has already so many toys, but maybe what's his favorite toy?
Let's play drums.
You want to have drums? What you will have for a birthday?
ET's flashing back to a nearly 3-year-old Barron Trump at Mom Melania's charity event in 2009. Barron sharing his birthday wish list, 15 years and about 5 feet before Dad Donald's second trip to the White House.
You want to have drums? What you will have for a birthday?
No, I want like on the television drums.
Like on television, the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves to play drums. So maybe for birthday, he will get the present.
Wow. I mean, she's a really pretty lady.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. And actually, this is when they said Baron still had an accent.
Right, right. He did.
Yeah, he's so cute. Like he speaks like her.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Look at this little pout. He was a
Yeah.
cutie. He was a cutie. It was a really good movie, folks. Definitely go check it out. Let us know what you think. As Yana said, sound off in the comments. Final thoughts, Yana, before we sign off.
Well, I'm glad we're in the new era right now. This showed another manifestation of the new era that we're in.
Absolutely. All right, folks. We'll catch you next time. Again, thanks again for watching, and have a good day or good night.